What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Eric and we are riding dirty. Today's episode, it's time to build our new DMR Sect frame up into an actual bike. We have our Marzocchi dirt jumper forks, and today's the day. I know a few of you have been asking me about when this was gonna get built. Well, here we go, let's dive in. For our crank, we'll be using a Descendant Eagle 6K dub crank, 170 millimeter with a 32 tooth chainring. For our saddle today, we'll be using the DMR Oi Oi seat in the 25th anniversary edition, red and black. For our wheel set today, we're gonna be rolling with some DMR wheels, 26 inch, obviously. They're called the Threat Pro wheels, 20 millimeter through axle with a male to female 10 millimeter axle in the rear. And you know we gotta put some Maxxis tires on these wheels. We're rolling with the DTH Maxxis skin wall tires, 26 by 2.15. Don't forget about our dirt jumper bomber forks by Marzocchi. The handlebars we're rolling with today are a company based out of Taiwan called PassQuest. They're pretty decent bars. They got a high rise of 60 millimeter. And the stem we're running with is a KR Sect stem. It's a cheapy stem. For now, I'm just rolling with this until I figure out the exact stem I want on there. So for our brakes today, we're gonna be rolling with the dual piston Shimano MT200. They're a hydraulic brake and they work pretty decent. I have it on my other dirt jumper, so that's why I'm sticking with these, because I know they work and I like them and they're not gonna break the bank. And last but not least, we can't forget about our DMR Sect frame. 26 inch dirt jumper frame. DMR's been a pretty well-known company for a while now. They just celebrated their 25th anniversary recently, and they're based out of England, and they've had some really good stuff over the years coming out for dirt jumpers and that kind of stuff. And I've known about them. I haven't always used a lot of their parts, but they have a good reputation, so that's part of the reason why I decided to pick their frame. And believe it or not, even though they're in England, their shipping is pretty fast. 10 millimeter dropouts, tapered head tube, 27.5 millimeter seat post with a wolf tooth seat clamp. For our chain, I went with the KMC gold half link chain. Why? Because it's gold. Our pedals are some cheap pedals I found off Amazon. I mainly went with these pedals because they match the color that I wanted. First thing what we're gonna do is get our seat post on so we can put this frame into the bike stand. We're gonna put a little bit of grease on our seat post.
Just want to get this thing in here so when we put it on the stand, it can hold it up for us. Just lock this thing in real quick and we're good to go. And we'll be using a tapered headset made by FSA for this build. And we're gonna go ahead and just grease this up so that when we're putting the crown race on, it goes on a little bit easier. Otherwise, when it's all dry, it's just kind of a pain to get that thing on. So I don't have a crown race tool because I honestly don't do this very often. So what I did is I just took a screwdriver and put a bunch of electrical tape on it and just slowly hammered it on until it worked. And then you gotta get ready to put your bearings in. So you gotta lube them all up, get some grease up in those bearings. And then once you get the grease in the bearings, you can throw that fork up in there. I'll go back and cut the steer tube later, but for now, I'm just gonna work on the bottom bracket and everything else on the bike. And whenever you're putting your bottom bracket in, it's always good to put a little bit of grease on the threads in there. That way you have a less chance of it getting too dirty in there, number one, and number two, because sometimes when it's dry in there, there's no grease, they'll start to creak. And then when I'm tightening my bottom bracket, I use a torque wrench because this actually has to be tightened down to 50 newton meters for it to be correct. That's why I use it. And now all we have left is to put on this other crank arm and torque it down so it's ready to go. Now I need to get this grip off so I can go ahead and get my brake lever on and then have my brake cable go all the way down the whole frame and get that all situated. That way when I put the rear wheel on, I already have the caliper ready to go. So I'm gonna put the caliper on the bracket right there, but I'm not gonna try to adjust it too much. I'm just trying to get it in the spot that it goes. So when I do put the wheel on, I can adjust everything all at once. Because if you try to adjust it now, it's gonna be pointless. Now it's time to get these beautiful tires on. I mean, look at those things. Those things are awesome. I've never used skin walled tires before on any of my bikes, but I've noticed that a lot of other people are rocking the DJs with the skin walls and I really like the look. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try it this time. All right, time to put this front wheel in with that giant 20 millimeter through axle. We're just gonna get it in there and adjust it and tighten it down and we'll be done with this. So now we're going to tighten down our rotor. This is an Avid 160 millimeter rotor. It tends to be pretty good for when you're using a dirt jumper. Anything bigger is too much, I think. Right here, I'm just greasing up the single speed conversion for the rear, and I went with a 15 tooth. Once I put the rear wheel into the frame, that's when I adjust the brake caliper. And now we just need to grease up these pedals so we can get them installed. It's always good to grease your pedals so they don't seize up into your crank arms. I've seen pedals that seize up in there and never come out. And you have to pay attention to the orientation when you put these in. A good friend of mine knows how to do that the wrong way. You know who you are. And right here, we're just getting the right length for the chain, and then we're gonna break the chain with the chain breaker and then put it back on and tighten it up so we have the right slack in our chain. DMR has these really cool tapered washers that go on the back of your frame and the dropouts that they say will make it to where your wheel, no matter what, will never come loose and make your chain loose. So here we go, back up to the cockpit. We're gonna go ahead and cut that steer tube off, like I said, that we would do later, so we can finish this bike and it'll be good to go. I do absolutely nothing fancy when I'm putting in the star nut. I take a ratchet extension and hammer it in with a hammer. Pretty simple, straightforward.
Well, there she is, everyone. She's all finished. The DMR Sect dirt jumper. All right, everyone, it's done. The DMR Sect is complete. My new dirt jumper. I'm so excited. I can't wait to go out and shred this thing. The next time you see this thing, it's gonna be out either on some dirt or at a skate park, just, you know, tearing up, having fun on it. Thanks for hanging out with me while I built this thing, and that's it for today. So if you like what we do, hit that like button. You wanna see what we're up to next, hit that subscribe button. Always remember, start small and go huge. Thanks for watching.